Hello, welcome to week 3 of our course. I look forward to working with you during this week. This week of the course focuses on domestic issues within the United States. Specifically, it focuses on the topic of the American dream. You've likely heard the phrase the American dream before. The idea of the American dream is the vision that all Americans can achieve economic success, prosperity, and a stable middle-class lifestyle, essentially. The American dream has gone through various iterations or changes over time. The American dream typically has referenced the idea of owning one's own home, oftentimes in the suburbs, having a stable and good job, having access to benefits, including health insurance and a pension. These are sort of the core elements of what has made up the American dream idea, if you will. So it's rooted largely in economic success that can provide a basis for raising a family in safety and comfort, essentially. The idea of the American dream faces many challenges, and one of the problems with the American dream is that it has not always been equally accessible to all people. You might argue that it's never been equally accessible to all people. One reason for this is racism. So throughout American history, members of minority groups have faced systematic racism. And this has made it more difficult, more challenging, less likely for members of certain minority groups to attain the quote-unquote American dream of economic security and success. I don't think it will come to as any surprise to anyone that through much of American history, African Americans, Latinos, and other groups have faced discrimination both in employment and discrimination in education and discrimination in housing. And if you look at these three areas, they're really each quite important for the achievement of the American dream. Having a strong education typically is a gateway to a good middle-class job. Of course, employment is crucial to establishing economic stability and success. And then finally, being able to purchase a home in a neighborhood of one's choice. At many points in American history, this access to education, employment, and housing have been discriminatory on the basis of race. If you go back to the 1950s and 1960s, many suburban neighborhoods would not sell homes to African American families, for example. And that's just one of many examples. We know that for many decades, members of racial minorities received unequal educational opportunities and were excluded from many colleges. And even today, due to historical legacies of residential segregation, we see that not all children have equal access to a quality education through the public school system. So that's one serious issue with the American dream that I think still is being addressed. Another is economic inequality. Economic inequality was very high in the early 20th century and the decades preceding the Great Depression. Economic inequality decreased in the post-World War II era. From, say, 1945 to 1970, there was a growing middle class, and economic inequality in the country decreased. However, from roughly 1980 to the present, inequality has been on the rise again. From 1980 to the present, workers' wages have stagnated. while productivity has increased, the benefits of this productivity, the profits from this productivity, have gone largely to the wealthiest members of society, and therefore the middle class has opportunities to enter the middle class have increasingly shrunk, have decreased, really. So it's becoming more and more difficult to either establish or maintain a middle class lifestyle because more and more of the wealth of our country is going to the top 1% or top 10% of income earners, essentially. So I would caution it's important not to view that period of 1945 to 1975 as a golden age or an age that we necessarily want to return to. While there was a growing middle class during this period, and many millions of people attained the American dream, access to the American dream during that period was still highly based on one's race. That, in the 40s and 50s, entering the middle class was possible largely for white Americans. So it wasn't accessible to everyone, certainly. So I hope that you'll find this unit to be interesting. You need to complete the knowledge path activities by the end of the day on Thursday. You should complete your initial discussion board post by the end of the day on Thursday. You should respond to at least 3 other students' comments by the end of the day on Saturday. And finally, you should complete the writing assignments by the end of the day on Saturday. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you.